Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
So yeah, they can be fine in their own company. Absolutely fine. COVID was like, yay,
Wow.
right? But it also isn't good for them. So just
Right.
because they like it
Right.
doesn't mean it's good for them.
Yeah.
And kind of my goal for my guys is, 2 or 3 people in your life. You don't have to have 700, okay? 2 or 3, just 2 or 3. And I'm usually one of them. We'll find 2 more, okay? Because we're not designed to not connect. We're designed to connect, okay? And so learning that people can be part of the solution. That's really what I'm all about.
Wow.
Really what I'm all about.
So you're basically rewiring these people from all this damage.
That's my work.
From all this damage you've had in the past.
You can't do it in 10 cognitive behavioral sessions.
Yeah.
Okay. This takes years. I have people I work with for multiple years. Okay, because they are slow turtles.
Well, they spent years building this up, right?
Yes.
Now you have to untangle all this. It's going to take time to untangle it too, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to have to be brutally consistent.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's my nature. I've had the same office. Okay.
Yeah.
So my nature to be consistent because of being a military kid, I don't like change.
Yeah.
My sister's the opposite.
Yeah.
She can adapt to any situation. Change. I'm the opposite, right? It's like, no. Once I land, we're good here.
Yeah.
So I'm perfect for this because somebody can call me 12 years later and I'm still here.
Right.
Right. So,
wow.
So yeah,
that is just fascinating to me. Okay. So you started, now you're writing a textbook right now, right? Yeah. And so does writing a textbook take an entire year? Is that why you took the year off?
Well, in academia, it's the measurement is either 1 semester or a school year.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So 1 semester wasn't quite enough. No, I don't actually need a full year.
I gotcha.
But what I decided to do is do the hardbound one in the fall, and now I'm working on the online version. It's kind of how I decided to divvy it up.
Gotcha.
And what I wanted to do, because I've been doing this theory I've developed, I've been doing it now for 3 years in my own practice. I have like this little group. And so what I've taken the time to do is pull out all those treatment notes. And I've had time to kind of dig into the data. Gotcha. And I've had time to get more specific. So it's actually turned out to be a good thing, except for losing my audience.
Except those driving you nuts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're writing a textbook and you just released your new book called Bad Taste.
Yeah. I have a lot of books I've written over the years, mostly because they didn't exist and I needed them for the classroom.
Okay.
So what would happen is I'd need something and I'm like, well, all right, I'll just have to write it.
Okay.
So I did put out a new one in the fall. Yes.
Okay. So can you give us an example of one that you've written where you needed a book for, it was for teaching?
Absolutely. Give you several examples. One of them is for my introduction to chemical dependency class. I wanted a book that described what it was like to work in treatment.
Okay.
Day to day. Doesn't exist. So I wrote a fictional book about a week in the life of a substance use treatment center.
Okay.
And I created a cast of characters and I described what each of those characters do as they interact with all kinds of interesting, weird clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's fun. It's a fun little read and they get to learn because it's based in reality because I've done it a bazillion years in treatment. And my students all read it for intro because a lot of them have never worked in treatment, even if they're in sobriety themselves. And
Right.
I wanted them to see the job they're training to do. Like, is
Yeah.
this really what you want to do?
Yeah.
The other one I wrote, another one I wrote is Awakening Hope, which is codependency from the same attachment theory I'm talking about for addiction, for codependency. And again, didn't exist. So I had to write that so that I could use that in my classroom. That's an
Can I
example.
ask you a question? So I'm not really clear on what codependency is. Could you explain it real quick?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the way I define it, which
Mhm.
is, I always have, which is really in three parts. One is because of that early attachment disruption,
Mhm.
people tend to manage their anxiety through either becoming anxious, right? That sort of trying to do this, or avoidant, right?
Mhm.
Or disorganized, where they just have a general misunderstanding of people's intentions. Okay. And as a result of that, they develop behaviors to manage that anxiety. Now, substance abuse is one of them, but for the codependent, it's really more um, um, trying to control the reality around them.
Okay.
So, a lot of behaviors around controlling the people in their world to manage their own anxiety. And as a result, the third part, they get physically ill. And so, all of that anxiety and controlling absolutely tanks your immune system. And so then you become, what you'll see with a lot of people like this, by the time they come to treatment, they have rheumatoid arthritis, migraines, and it all has to do with that constant fight or flight system that never cuts off,
Wow.
never cuts off. So essentially, codependency for me is an anxiety problem.
I
Okay.
got you.
And it just, that constant, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, never stops.
And then
what's
it physically manifests itself.
Mhm, mhm.
Wow.
And it's the people that are threatening. It's those relationships that are threatening. And essentially, and that's why in my attachment theory approach to addiction,
Mhm.
again, it's the people that trigger the relapse. It's the people interaction that's so stressful.
Yeah.
Okay. It's, on the one hand, it's the greatest source of joy. And on the other hand, it can tank you.
Yeah. I got you. Okay. So let's talk about bad taste for a second.
Okay.
So you write a book about this woman who has apparently really bad taste in men.
Okay, so here's how this works. It's called, I'll show you the book. It's called Bad Taste. It's on Amazon, and it's called Self-Care and Financial Planning When You Have Bad Taste in Men. This is written for the women I've seen over the years, myself included. And I talk about 10 different types of men.
Mm-hmm.
And the through line is we keep attaching to men who aren't available. And maybe it's cheaters, or maybe he just won't work. Maybe he's got a personality disorder. Maybe he's a criminal. Maybe he's an addict. There's lots of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I describe, and what I'm doing is I'm describing those situations, is how she can take care of herself, and take care of herself mostly financially, particularly if she's not leaving.
Right.
Because a lot of these books are about leaving. Well, women don't always leave. They have children. They love him. They have their reasons.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, these kind of relationships can destroy you financially. And so it's 80 pages. It's very small, but it's really about, okay, how are you going to protect yourself? Your heart wants what it wants. Okay. How do you do that and still be stable?
Right.
Because they're not stable.
Right.
So how do you be stable in those situations?
So how do you take control of something that's out of control?
Yeah, and that's only the part you get to manage. So
right.
A lot of it's financial. So things like making sure it's your name on the lease, because when somebody goes in and out of jail, they could be gone for a while. How much does it cost to pay a bail bondsman? And I have in there also supports they could reach out to, right? Like National Alliance for Mental Illness, or Al-Anon, or sort of CODA, sort of other people who would get it. Okay, because sometimes the solution is not to leave.
Right.
And if you are going to leave, here's some ways to protect yourself. Again, like for a lot of these guys, you cannot do what's collaborative divorce. Don't even get an attorney immediately, because if they have untreated psych symptoms and that's why you're leaving, their symptoms will get worse under the stress of divorce. So they're not good faith agreement people. So get an attorney. Right? So it's very practical. Here's how you need to hide your grandmother's valuables because, well, he'll sell them. So, or here's why you don't put his name on your children's college account. Okay. I mean, it's very, very practical. Very practical.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's designed as sort of a workbook, if you will, for her to protect herself.
Yeah. Because it's okay. You love him. I'm no judgment here. And I describe some badass situations I've done. I get it. But you don't have to ruin your whole life. Right? There's some things you can try to. I have a couple examples in there about things certifications you can train for that make decent money in under a year. Okay. So I was like, all right, you're going to need your own income.
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, somebody gets arrested. If they hold them for long, they'll lose their job.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So you're like, okay, here's what you need to do. So it's almost like, an older aunt or something that says, look, I've been here. Okay. Let me tell you. Here's how you take care of you. And if you do want to leave, fine. But a lot of people don't. They don't, for very good reasons. Religion, there's all kind of reasons.
Yeah.
Some of us, because of our early childhood disruption, have radar for the most unavailable person in the room. Okay? It's got nothing to do with the men themselves. I mean, there could be 99 lovely men, lovely, available, men, right? And I will still notice the one who's probably the biggest, unavailable person. I mean, now what I've learned is to not go there, but I'll always notice. Some of us, and my friends know too, on my website, badtasteinmen.com, I have a PDF for friends and family of women like this, because it's really hard on the women, the people who love these women, because it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Hard to watch.
It's gotta be.
And most of the women I've dealt with are competent, well-educated, bright women, right? You're looking at them like, oh my God. No, I want him. Okay. I'm thinking of one, God bless her. She's now waited, 15 years. And he's had a child with somebody else and he's been married twice, he'll be back. He keeps popping back in. It's like, oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what causes somebody to want the most unavailable man in the room?
Because we didn't grow up with a roadmap for how to do relationships where both people are available at the same time.
Okay.
So where only one of us is able to participate.
Okay.
So we don't know what that is. Don't know what that looks like, where both people actually are accountable. Both show up. Both do what they say they're going to do. And so very often the women are the ones in these situations who are accountable. They're doing what they say they're going to do. They know how to do that, but they don't know how to do that with someone else.
Wow.
And in some ways, it's sort of scary when you do meet somebody who does, because you don't have a lot of tools for that. So the normal reaction is to be suspicious. Like, why are they doing that? Because you're not sure. Like, what do I do if the other person is also accountable?
Yeah.
And then holds me accountable and expects me, you know what I mean? We just don't have a map for that.
Yeah.
We got to learn one.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
So what can you do if you have, obviously buy your book, right? And follow the steps in the book. Is there something that somebody can do to get to where they pick better men?
Yeah. I mean, that's the point of therapy, is to figure out your own patterns and catch yourself in the act.
Right.
Like, I have to catch myself in real time. And I'll give you a good example. A long time ago, I went to a hockey game with this guy. I didn't know him very well. And I could sense, and here's the thing, your body feels things before you think things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I could tell something was a little off, but nice man. I'm like, okay. So we're in the car and we were talking about socialization or something. And he said something like, yeah, I am highly social just so I don't have to connect. Ha ha ha. Ha. And I heard him. I filed it away. And as the date went on or the evening went on, I still felt uncomfortable. And I'm like, what is that? Now, there were a couple points where we did connect.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I would have paid attention to those a couple points where we connected and then tried to force a relationship to happen.
Right.
That's my evidence.
Right.
What I've learned in recovery is to listen to what people say about themselves.
Yeah.
And believe him.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there were a couple of times where we sort of connected, believe him. And believe my body. When my body said something, not totally, I'm not sure what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice man, not available. Not available.
Right. And
No.
probably won't be anytime soon.
No. So that's the difference, which is to see it in real time, listen to myself, believe people when they say things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many men have told me over the years, yeah, I'm really bad at relationships, or women always say I'm an asshole, and I used to think it meant they had a bad self-esteem.
Right.
Now I believe them.
Yeah.
You're probably an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's probably the way I'm going to feel about you too, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Listen to them. They tell you if you will take it in, but we go straight into denial. They don't mean that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is it one of those things where we start developing feelings, and then because we develop the feelings, all the negative stuff we get blind and deaf to?
Yeah, we get sort of the Linda Evans soft lens, how we just, yeah. We may hear it, but we
I
just
love
don't.
Linda Evans.
I know. We diminish it. We diminish the meaning of it, right?
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to make somebody wrong. Like, he's a nice man, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bad person. The issue is available, not available.
Right.
Right? Not good person, bad person. Right? No, not really relationship material. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
I don't need to invest the next 3 months of my life proving that point.
So in therapy, you basically equip people with the tools that they need to be able to figure this out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of stay out of those sort of doomed relationships that are,
or get out quicker
before they ever start. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or get out quicker. So yeah, you're in it for a little bit. You're like, pay attention.
So writing the book Bad Taste, and I know this from other authors that we've interviewed, they all learn something from writing.
Oh, yeah.
What's the number one most important thing that you learned writing Bad Taste?
I think it forced me to be concise in why I think what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I had to come up with specific examples, it sort of reinforced and made it tangible. I mean, something I already know,
Mm-hmm.
but actually saying, okay, here's why you need to rent a deposit. It's called civil forfeiture.
Right.
When the police raid your home, they can take everything, as part of the profits of crime. So if you have valuables and you're dating a meth dealer, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have your grandmother's stuff somewhere else.
Yeah. Like
So
a safe
that when
deposit box or something.
if they raid your house, you don't lose it. I mean, that's dark, but that's how that is.
Yeah.
Okay. So coming up with specific examples like that, and at the same time not making them sad.
Yeah.
Oh, I needed to somehow also find points of laughter in there, because it is dark funny. I mean, it is. We're terrible, the people we pick. We're terrible. We have terrible taste. But you also have to tell yourself the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, he doesn't go on your lease. I love you. You're not on my lease. Yep.
Right. So they're not on the lease. They're not on the bank accounts, I take it, right? They're not on other accounts. right?
Yeah, you can have a joint account or whatever.
Yeah.
I really encourage women to get their own credit established, right? Uh, Anything you can do in your own name, right? Over time, because these guys, and if it does end, some of them, it ends badly. Like they blow shit up. They cancel all the credit cards. They take all the money. So, I mean, it's like, let's just be honest. Because women say to me all the time, oh no, he'll rise to the occasion. I mean, he cares about the children. No, he won't. Why? Because he's under stress. Yes, on a good day, he might have risen to the occasion, but a divorce is stressful. So all of our negative behavior gets amplified.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen women lose money and assets over the years trying to make it nice,
Yeah.
hoping that it'll be nice. Mm-mm. Now, other men are nice. I have one guy in there that I read, the kind that doesn't like to work. Okay. On the other hand, what he does like to do is take care of the house and the children. So if you can shift your belief system about gender, this can work for you.
Yeah.
It only works against you when you care what other people think.
Yeah. I actually know some people that the wife is the principal breadwinner and the husband stays, husband's a stay-at-home dad, that kind of, and it works for them.
It does. Now, sometimes they smoke a lot of weed and play video games. That's not good.
Maybe too much weed, too much video games, right?
Well, because then you have to remind them to pick the children up. That's not good.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, sweet children love them. You don't want to dump them. Okay, how do we do this? Right, so they're not all terrible. It's just
So can I ask you a question? If somebody's if somebody's listening to this and they're in a relationship like that, like what you're describing, could they come to you and bring their spouse and have you sort of work on both of them?
Well, not me specifically because
Okay.
I'm pretty busy, but yes, couples counseling. Couples counseling is exactly what can happen. But some of these couples, the scenario I just put in is perfect for couple counseling. The other one for couples counseling is emotionally immature guy.
Okay.
Great. Because he tends to get better with counseling.
Okay.
Personality disorder, like the user or the narcissist, don't bother.
Really?
Don't bother.
So it's not worth the investment.
They're not. I'll tell you what, it'll be all about what's wrong with you. They'll probably come once to tell me, the counselor, what's wrong with you. They have no intention of changing anything. So, and I'm honest about that too.
Yeah.
I like which ones I have hope for and which ones I'm thinking, not so much. Because some of these guys, if I'm a career criminal, why are we in counseling?
Yeah.
My job is crime. You need counseling to manage the fact that my job is in crime.
Right.
I'm not going to stop crime.
And you're with them. Yeah.
I'm not going to stop crime. Right. The other one that is dangerous sometimes for counseling is domestic violence. If I'm with a guy that's violent, no counseling. Couples counseling sometimes because it gets bad when you get home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I try to tell the truth about my observations about where I see more hope than others.
Yeah.
Right? It's like some things, absolutely. Other things, you might go yourself and see what you can do.
So I think I know the answer to this question, but I want to hear it from you.
Okay.
When COVID hit, you mentioned COVID earlier.
Yeah.
When COVID hit and the shutdown happened, there was a spike in domestic violence.
You bet.
There was a spike in drug use, a spike in alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Abuse, right? There was all these things that sort of bubbled up to the surface.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because all of these relationships that we're maintaining through distance had nowhere to hide.
Right. They had nowhere to go, right? The going to work was the outlet kind of thing,
That's
right?
right. That's right. Going to work, going to play pickleball, going to see my girlfriends, going out to eat. Because those are all strategies that help me stay in a less than desirable relationship.
Right.
If you take those away and I'm stuck with the situation, it becomes untenable.
So distance makes the heart grow fonder.
In these kind of relationships, it does.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah. If I'm with a really highly critical partner who's kind of narcissistic, if I'm with him, I need other people who actually like me, other people who actually are supportive, other people who my nervous system can calm down.
Mm-hmm.
I need that in order to sustain being with somebody who's critical.
Gotcha.
If all I got's critical, I never calm down.
So if you're in a relationship with a narcissist or somebody who's overly critical, what is it that causes them to be that way?
I would say some of the same things. I mean, I think they don't know how to play with others. Their own early attachment is disrupted. Um, they they may not recognize. Part of what happens when your early attachment stuff is messed up is you don't really notice your impact on other people sometimes because you only see the world through your own perspective.
Right.
So I don't actually register that I'm hurting you.
Right. No sense of acuity and no real desire to care.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm in survival.
Yeah.
Right. When people in survival, they're not scanning sometimes how you feel about them. They're scanning on what do I need?
Yeah.
Right. How do I stay okay?
Gotcha.
So they're not particularly curious about how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
That's why it's lonely.
Yeah. It really is.
Some of these relationships are very lonely. And being married to an addict is lonely.
Yeah.
You don't have somebody to talk to who's really always present. And so that's why you need support groups, because it allows you to be seen and heard and feel like you matter so that you can hang in there with somebody who's in and out of consciousness.
It also gives you an opportunity to kind of express yourself, right? Because you can't really do that to your partner because your partner's not available, like you're saying, right? They're not attached, right? So that's something I hadn't heard before, the attachment thing. So that's why I keep asking you about this.
That's
But when you have a support group, you're in that support group with a bunch of other people that are experiencing a lot of the similar things that you're experiencing, right? And it gives you an opportunity to connect.
Yeah. And you feel less crazy.
Yeah.
You feel less crazy. You're like, oh, you get that too. Oh, you feel that way too. Oh, I'm not the only one.
Well, there's a part of every human situation, I think, where human beings think it's only them. It's only happening to them. They're the only ones that think this way, that kind of, right? I don't know how many times over the years I've said, wow, I'm glad that's not only me, or I'm not the only one, right? And usually it's something really sick. It's like, wow, somebody else thinks that way.
You're so right. It's something particularly nasty.
It's like, and you're kind of like, So,
no, you're right. You're right. Plus, I think, again, it speaks to the fact that we're designed to be part of a tribe or part of a community. If there's at least one other person, my clients will say to me, how do you know that this can get better? I'll say, well, because I did. So there'll be two of us.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I see people do it. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like I see people who are struggling, I also see people in recovery.
Yeah.
It's absolutely possible. There's people all around us who are better. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not unique. We're not dying of in Alcoholics Anonymous is called terminal uniqueness, right? Your uniqueness will kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's our connection that's our strength.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the camaraderie, right? It's the seeing that other people are experiencing something like what you're experiencing. So you don't feel like a pariah. You don't feel like that only person out there that thinks the way that you think or acts the way that you act and that kind of thing. Right. So, yeah. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I've had a lot of experiences in my life where I've come across people in my life that have changed the way that I look at things. And it's simply because they looked at things similar to the way I did. And then I looked at them and went, oh, I need to correct that. Right. That's just not acceptable, that kind of thing. So I don't know if that makes me a narcissist, but it's one of those things where I'm always trying to improve. Right. So I'm like always trying to get better.
I see you as a natural learner.
Yeah.
Your instinct is to learn. It seems to be the way you're wired.
I'm just
Yeah.
naturally curious, right?
Yes.
You
I see
heard
that.
about curiosity killed the cat, right? I'm way past my ninth life, all that kind of stuff. But it's one of those things where it's the juice of life for me. Getting to know people and getting to know their story and that kind of thing, and
Uh-huh.
getting to know what makes them tick.
Right.
Like I love the fact that you took a sabbatical and it's driving you nuts, right? Because you got to get back. I know that feeling. Like I try to go on vacation and 3 days later, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work now. Right.
Mhm.
So I'm glad it's not just me.
Oh,
Right?
it's not.
I can't
I've got
imagine
about a
taking a year off.
I've got about a 10-day shelf life for vacation,
Yeah,
and then
right.
I'm
Right.
done now. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of the max, right? You're sort of like, okay, all right, we've hit the mother load here. We're done. Yeah, I know that feeling. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for being our guest
You're welcome.
on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been an absolute riot. I have had
I'm
so
so
much fun.
glad.
I've had so much
And you'll
fun.
send me the link?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be a few weeks in editing, but
Okay.
once it's live, we'll put it out there. So what you can do is go to the Mike Litton Experience podcast and
Okay.
just subscribe, and then you'll get a notification when it comes available.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Thanks again for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mike.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out Calendly.com/Rio760.